Puede. What up, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Fencer Princess, SoundCloud. And listen, I wanted to talk about the impending doom that is the reality of the day, especially when Trump wins the election. Because Hillary Rodham Clinton is a really, really good opponent. However, even she said that she lacks the oratory gift of her husband and of Obama. She is not very good at when it comes to speeches at the campaign trail. And recently she gave a speech, and people roared, and it was like, you are obviously out of your element. It's just like somebody who runs 100 trying to run the mile. You can run, but you're gonna lose. Nobody can't say that you can't do one thing, but you're respected, but you're still gonna lose this particular race. And this is probably the reason why she loses every election that she's up against. She makes it, so far, and then boom. Um, Nevertheless, she doesn't stand a chance against against the white supremacist Donald Trump and all of his so-called white Americans. And but here's the thing. Here's the thing, people. I was thinking about something. Donald Trump. Okay, let me preface this. I keep talking about how the Senate wanted to make it possible that the president does not need to go through the Senate and the House in order to declare war. They want that power to be uh, given to the president alone. One person being able to say, you know what, I'm pushing a button. He does not need to sign an executive order or whatever. It's his decision and his decision alone if he wants to go to war now. Here's the problem with that. One, all that power should not be given to one man. In the words of Kanye, no one man should have all that power. But nonetheless, here's another huge deal with that. Okay, so everybody thinks that Trump is like the Antichrist or whatever. I'm not sure about that, but I've had some videos to pretty much talk about the up and coming wars and the biblical text trying to match what I'm saying, or me trying to match what the biblical text is saying, and and also some videos on some people who've traveled in time, and I'm not sure if they did or didn't, but it was interesting what they said. How by the year 036 that the war had already happened, and we were going to be divided up into five religions, the whole world, five religions only. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Donald Trump is able, okay, so Donald Trump doesn't want the, I don't know, I think it's the Syrians who are fleeing from civil war. He doesn't want 250,000 of them coming into our country. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want you to be a he doesn't want you to be an unregistered citizen. This is his beef with Mexicans. He's like, no, you guys are coming in, crossing the border. I'm going to build a wall. If you're going to come in, you have to have citizenship. He knows that there are a lot of illegal aliens who are in the United States, and he wants to kick them out or for them to get citizenship. Okay, fine. And then, of course, you have, some people who have even fleeing Boko Haram in Nigeria. If they can come to America, they would. And we do have a large amount of African people who are pouring into United States. They are migrating here. Well, they're not migrating. They're um, they're they're pretty much coming here and they're staying because if you're migratory, you actually go back. But they're not doing that. They're coming here and they're staying. So, and then you have the Asian population that's pouring into the country, and so you have all of these people who are trying to get citizenship but don't have citizenship. Then, of course, you have Middle Easterns by the millions pouring into the country, and some of them are not legal aliens. And so, Donald Trump, this is the platform he's running on: Make America Great Again. Okay, so how do you stop all of those people from coming in and pretty much using the country's resources and so-called not allowing the American people to, which he means white American, not African American, the American people not to, or beating them out of jobs or so on and so forth, which that isn't really what's going on. Actually, the Hispanic people are creating jobs. You know, those are some really industrious people, but nonetheless, and a lot of those other groups that are coming in, races that are coming in, they're creating jobs, and some of them, the Indian people are coming in because they're educated. They have their doctors, and and then some of them are able to get these stores. The Middle Easterns are able to buy stores. The Asians are able to also set up stores. Most of them are set up in very impoverished neighborhoods because the white people don't want to come into those impoverished neighborhoods. That's why you see different nationalities in impoverished neighborhoods, and so and it's tax free for them to do that. But how do you stop uh, so many Syrians from coming into the nation illegally? How do you stop so many, even the people in Greece, their economy has collapsed? How do you stop these people from coming in to America and not having citizenship? How do you stop that? Well, for those of you who are young, you're not going to know any of this unless you research it. But even when I was a young man, actually before I was born, in the 60s, I was born in 67, but in the 60s, they had what was called the draft. So the military would pretty much send you out information and say, hey, you have to enter into the draft. And this is why Muhammad Ali was like, I'm not entering the draft. I'm not going to war, because he didn't want to fight a so called white man's war, which they are, because black people do not start those wars. Nonetheless, he didn't want to fight the white man's war. So they were pretty much trying to put him in jail. And instead, he did the whole rumble in the jungle. Uh, Nonetheless, but the draft is where they make you go into the service, and you have to do so much time in the service to become a citizen. Now, that is what's going to happen again. So, when you add up all of the elements that Donald Trump is running under, make America great again, how's he going to do that? He is not only is he going to keep warring with the people who we're already warring with because we need the resources, he's going to start other wars. And when he does that, he's going to realize that the people that we have in this country as citizens cannot sustain the wars that you are creating. So, what do? You allow other people to come into the country, but only if they enter into the draft. That's what's going to happen. And I'm not saying little babies. I'm saying those who are in between a certain age, regardless of their gender, he is going to make them enter into the draft. There's going to be stipulations that you might not be able to enter the draft. He's only going to take so many people out of a family. So if you come in and you have a family of 8 children, and mom, dad, and 8 children, family of 10, he's going to look at who is of age, which is 18, actually, which is I think 17, between 17 18. We'll just go with 18 to be safe because I'm not sure. 18 to the age of we'll say 30, and you have to into you have to enter into the draft with a time limit of so many years. When I was into the service, I didn't have to go into the service. I chose to, but they had the option of 3 year service. I took the 3 year service. They had 3 years, 4 years, and then they had more. Now they no longer have the 3 year service. The service is more. They make you stay in the military more. This is not an accident. Okay, so I've talked about this on so many fronts, on so many videos about when an empire fights on so many fronts, on so fights so many wars, and how they deplete their human resource. So I told you, the more of these you have, the more powerful you are. So when you have soldiers dying, when you have because of injuries, you have people who are dying because of disease. You have people who are dying because of the age. You have people who are dying because of natural causes. You have people dying for so many reasons. When you take the people who are able to fight, able bodies, able to fight, and you start narrowing out how many people that is within a certain demographic, then this is what makes up your military base. You say these many people are available, and after you eliminate the fact that they might not have particular diseases, they might not have eye problems, they might not be but so tall, which some of those are going to change. They might take people because a lot of people from these nations aren't as tall as the so-called uh, white man or the African American. Some of them are very short people. So if you want some of those people to enter in the war, you're going to have to change your stipulation in order to get into the military. And that is going to happen. So I'm just telling you, people, I know this is lengthy, but when you start adding up what Donald Trump is about and making America great again, and what the Senate is trying to do, and the just the lay of the whole election, the lay of the land of the election, and what is soon to come. Then you take historical facts, then you take biblical facts, and you start adding it all up. We're going to go to war on a wide scale, and he can't stop all these people from pouring into the country. So he's going to make sure that he can use those bodies. He's like, okay, if you want to come into the country, this is what's going to happen. There are the reaction of that is one, if you start making people register to be in the military, and you know they're going to go to a hostile area, you know the chances of them are dying are going to be, I mean, great. I mean, when you look at what was it, World War II, when we went on Storm Normandy, your chances of living were 13 seconds. I mean, the average person's life was they were 18 years old. So, and what they did was they threw as many bodies as they could on Normandy. That was the whole idea. There was no strategy but one: flood the area with human beings. So all this, oh, they died a great soldier in service to the country. Get the hell out of here. You didn't care about them. You just wanted to pour as many bodies on that land as you can until we finally took it over. Same thing when you go to when we fought in Vietnam. You poured so many bodies into Vietnam, and we end up losing that. That's why they call it a conflict and not a war. So this is what's going to happen. They need bodies. And since the European has been fighting so many wars on so many fronts for 250 years, um, ever since Alexander the Greek. So basically, what happens is the white man is not producing as many children as every other nationality is. They're not. And because and what they're doing is, and there's a whole science to it, they're producing children and they have smaller families, so they might have one or two kids. However, black people are known to have 8 kids. I mean, you got some guys out there who are just, out there having babies after babies after babies after babies. And You have families who are doing that on a regular basis. You had Hispanic families, there's a lot of them. They don't have just one kid, they have more than one kid, 4 or 5 kids. So the darker people are outnumbered in the Caucasian. However, the Caucasians empire is America, and since they or America, Europe, Australia, since they still have that hold as far as those empires are concerned, what they're going to do is they're going to make you register to become a citizen so you can fight in their war. This is the same thing that the Romans did. If you don't believe me, look it up. Paul. Paul was a Benjamite, like Paul in the Bible. Paul was a Benjamite. He was from the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Benjamin, they were dark skinned people, but nonetheless, Paul was a Roman citizen. That's why when Paul died, he died hung upside down. He was the upside down cross. Was No, that was Peter. I'm sorry. Paul was beheaded. If you're a Roman citizen and you spoke out against the king or the emperor of Rome, you got your head cut off. So that's why they cut Paul's head off. But nonetheless, so look this up, people. It's just some more information out there. But that's what I think is going to happen. You're going to have to register for the military, somebody in your family, in order for your family to have citizenship. And it's your boy Tone, 202, coming at you with more game. Peace.